Alexis Skyy reveals her Christian rebrand was for a man. Interesting. She says, I was changing myself for somebody else and not for me. In an interview with Pastor Jamal Bryant, reality TV star Alexis Skyy reflected on her spiritual journey, rebrand, and how she did it to impress a man she was involved with. Alexis said her walk with God wasn't fake, but the reason was that it was for a man and not her. Maybe, well, she goes to say, maybe if I change my image on Instagram or I change how I am and then I'll be his wife, she told Pastor Bryant. Alexis said she doesn't regret her decision because that's what was supposed to happen. Okay. Fair use. Shout out to Pastor Jamal Bryant and Alexis Skyy. Even though Alexis Skyy, that sounds like an adult film industry, you know what I mean, name. But anyways, fair use.
It was never fake. My encounter with God was real.
Yeah.
I was just really just in a space where I was dating somebody, and I'm not going to say any names, and I'm thankful for this person because it was never that I never believed in God. I just wasn't really close to him. And it was somebody that was in my life that had an influence. And, I was so focused on being a wife and being loved on and being wanted that I was just like, okay, well, I have to change who I am in order for this person to accept me.
Yeah.
And I was more so focused on that versus my walk with God. I was doing it more for what that person wanted, you know? So I'm like, okay, well, maybe if I change my image on Instagram or I change how I am, then I'll be his wife or I'll do this. So it was more so like, okay, Alexis, are you ready for this? But I really wasn't ready, you know? And it's not saying that I wasn't ready to walk with God. It's just I wasn't doing it the right way. I was more so doing it for somebody else. And so it just happened overnight. So next thing you know, I'm on the internet telling the world, like, I stopped doing this, I stopped doing that, I stopped doing that. But this is who Alexis really was, you know? And I was changing myself for somebody else and not for me. And that person had a major impact. And I don't regret it because that was what was supposed to happen. But just coming from, I used to dance. I've been in trafficking and just the lifestyle.
I'm sorry. I really was going to let it play out. But as soon as I heard, dancing, I was like, yeah. But then as soon as she said traffic, I was like, oh my God. Man, stop it. Somebody got to start giving me the research behind this, these so-called traffickings. Man, ever since they put that joint out, R. Kelly, I knew bitches was gonna run with that shit. I knew it, man. Because I was like, what, man? When they put that trafficking charge on R. Kelly, I'm like, what are they talking about trafficking? I said, this is a Negro R&B star out of Chicago. That's what I said on my live stream with the R. Kelly thing. I'm like, this is a Negro R&B star from Chicago. They talk about he's trafficking bitches. No, stop. Because that sticked. Because the male simps allowed it to stick. That's on men too. But because that sticked, now you got bitches talking about it was trafficking. No, you just didn't want a normal job. You didn't want a normal job, and then now you started selling yourself on Backpage or Craigslist or one of these spots, right? And that's what you started to do. That was your choice, and you had male management. Anyways, let me let it play out. I'm sorry, I got triggered.
That I've came from, that's all I know. So people can't fault me for being on the internet, showing this or doing this or having an OnlyFans or doing that because that's all I was taught. I never went to college. I don't know what it's like to have a degree. It was never fake.
So she still got an OF. But this is what's gonna happen because now this is gonna happen to a lot of bitches in the future. Now watch this. Watch this work. Watch this work. Watch this work right here. Watch this crazy work. As soon as, do you remember that video she had dropped last year when she started her conversion? You know what I mean? The video she had dropped. Y'all don't remember that? Hold on. Let me see if I can bring that up. Oh, I don't know why I can't find that joint. But let me bring it up for you right now. I got it right. So remember that video she had dropped last year? I require a man of God and blah, blah, blah. Remember this video?
Dear future husband, I require a man of God. I require good morning text. I require flowers. I require date nights. I require time. I require respect. I require loyalty. I require love. I require affection. I require reassurance. I require all these things, yes. Listen, ladies, never settle for less. There's a man out there that will give you everything that you require. And I want you to know, stop settling because it looks good. Stop settling because it sounds good. Stop settling because he has money. Stop settling. Ladies, know your worth. Love yourself. Understand that we are queens and we are not supposed to be treated nothing less than queens. We are strong queens at the end of the day. So we deserve a king, nothing less. And I want you to know, trust the process, have faith, and understand to know your worth, love yourself, keep your relationship with God, put no man before God, and watch what happens. But just know never to settle. And the word is, I require.
You don't force that for me. Come in and go answer that. Cause what you want to hear, if you the answer you want, you have to go and be for that.
Man, she need. And by the way, let's check how old she is. Ding ding ding, 30 years old. It never fails, does it? It never fails. It never fails. It never fails. Oh yeah, by the way, when she made that video, she was what? 28 or 29 years old. So this was yeah. So this was from that video was from what, 2023? If I'm not mistaken, that video was from like 2023. Right? Yeah, 20. That's 2 years ago. Oh man, time is going by fast, boy. Yeah, so 2 years ago. So she was 28 years old. Never fails. Never fails. Now, back to what I was saying a little bit. I kind of tailed off. Pause. Usually during that time, we talk about the epiphany phase, from ages, it kind of really starts around 26 to be fair, but really for the most part from that 27, 28, 29, 30 years old, 31, 32, usually around those ages. But to keep it fair, we'll keep it fair. We'll say from ages 28 through 32, this is where you're going to start seeing women finding God. And I put that in quotation marks, finding God, even after quote unquote being trafficked, quote unquote, and all that she's been through. Then she's going to start talking about, I require this, I require that, I require a man of God, and blah, 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 blah. Right? This is usually the plan. Holding it up from ages 13 through what? I'll keep the ages safe. I'll say from ages I'm gonna just keep it a buck. From ages 13 to 28, they're gonna hold it up. And really, by the time they hit 18, they're like, okay, I got 10 more years. They'll be like, once they hit 18, they're like, okay, I got 10 more years to just act a plump fool. And then by that time, particularly Latinas and black women, they do this a lot. So then by that time, once they hit that age, and white women too, just white women, they're because white women age really bad, so they have to start looking for partners earlier. So by a certain age, then they're going to pivot. And I'm talking about, you'd have thought, man, I thought she was really in that OnlyFans, man. I really thought she was flying, traveling. Why does she wants a Christian man now? What's now she's pivoting to Christian? Brittany Renner pivoting to to Islam of all religions. I was like, oh my God. It is hilarious when I be watching Brittany Renner. It just be funny because she like she's posing at such a level that it's just too, you can't even be mad at her. You just be laughing. That is a mentally ill woman. That woman is not well. She is not well. But same here with Alexis Skyy. And oh man, this thing with this trafficking word. I mean, bruh. I'm warning you guys. I'm telling you, the women now, particularly when you're talking about Gen Z women, they're gonna be using all types of excuses. There's gonna be a whole bunch of dudes that get married in the future, and you're gonna have 60 to 70% of these guys talking about how their wives used to be trafficked or they got taken advantage of. They're gonna all have some kind of similar-esque story of that ilk. You guys need to be careful. You need to prepare to hear that. And I will say this: in the future, especially past the year 2026, most women that will have that story, they will be lying, or they're not going to be telling the full story of what happened. When I'm talking about when it comes to SA, when it comes to alleged trafficking and all this stuff, most of them are going to have that story in the future because they're gonna have a lot of bodies, particularly Gen Z women, and including Gen Alpha coming up. they have a lot of, I'm talking about, they have a lot of bodies, and they're going to have to answer for that. Somebody's because dudes are going to find out about their past. Dudes are going to find out, and they're going to be like, what's this about? They're going to have to come up with something. They're going to have to come up with something. So shout out to Alexis Skyy, giving, low key, just giving me more material. just more material, to work on. But we already know, when you look at an Alexis Skyy, I mean, just look at her profile. We've done lessons on this before on my older live streams. Probably one of my lesser viewed live streams, but we've shown this stuff before. You got the link tree in the bio. Her always on a flight. Oh, she must have gotten married. Did she get married? Oh no, she's just wearing a wedding dress. Oh, Lord have mercy. She's she's not well. Pictures like this. Always traveling. Always on somebody's boat. Always in somebody's hotel, on somebody's plane. We already know what type of broad she is. And when you look at that video, that old video right here, where she's telling ladies don't settle and don't do this, a lot of y'all ladies are taking advice from women straight off the blade. I'm talking about straight off of the Figueroa. You know what I mean? This is the advice, and like the people that their quotes they're holding up in the air and using it against men, or using it to quote unquote empower themselves. And the women that they're taking advice from, life advice from, are women that are coming straight off the blade. Or in her case, she said she was trafficked. I'm gonna have to look into that, because these stories don't be adding up with that stuff. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Shout out to Alexis Skyy. Hopefully she finds the simp that's going to fall for her story. Unfortunately, black women, they don't people just tend not to believe them OD, but it's going to be all races of women uses that type of stuff. It's just harder for people to believe black women when they put it out there. So good luck to her. And guys, watch out for the sob story that is to come in the future.